Hi guys, and welcome back to Creative Pet Keeping. My name is Kasha. I am your host, and in today's video we're going to answer a question I see a lot online, and that is, can I keep male and female betta fish, specifically betta splendens, together? Now, the common domesticated fish that you can get at your local pet store or at most breeders are usually betta splendens, and they are the fish that we have domesticated over a couple hundred years. These fish were originally bred for the betta fighting sport, and this is why the most aggressive and strong, healthy fighters were selectively chosen to be bred, and that in turn has caused the betta splendens that was developed over time to become a highly aggressive fish. Because of that, even though the wild bettas are much more peaceful while still aggressive, and while you can keep wilds in pairs, depending on which species you're working with, because even some wild bettas you can actually keep in groups, which is really, really cool. And there's, I think, about 72 wild species of different types of bettas out there. When it comes to your domesticated, very common betta, which could be crown tails, they could be plaquettes, they could be half moons. I know some people can get a little confused. You do not keep males and females together, or you do not keep males and males together, because they will kill each other. Usually, sometimes there will be, this special magical exception where, someone will keep them together. I've done it before a long, long time ago when I started out, and I was new to fish keeping. I didn't know that much about bettas. At the time, I did have a group of female bettas, and I kept them with a male. By some miracle, they survived. They did okay. But realistically, looking back at it now, I see it as a lot of luck, and I would not replicate this anymore. Having sororities, and I've kept female sororities, which is keeping a group of female bettas together in a tank. I've kept them together, and that already is hard enough, so you don't want to try to make it harder. And when it comes to keeping males, if you want to have more than one male, just get a good divided tank with a solid divider, preferably one that is predominantly solid, maybe with some holes so the fish can see each other a little bit in flare, but predominantly can't see each other. Usually that works out just fine, or you can do what I have over here. This is a 20-gallon tall tank. It is planted, and up there, right behind there, is Sunny, my veil tail. And he shares a tank with bristlenose plecos, as well as guppy males and endler males. And he's got so much room for swimming, activities, exploring. He's a happy boy. There's no reason that I should be adding more boys in there or females. He's fine just the way it is. In terms of, will my fish get lonely, which is something we think about, bettas are not schooling fish, so they don't necessarily need a companion. I do notice that bettas, if they're alone, especially if you keep a betta alone in a jar, they do tend to get depressed because there is no mental stimulation. Just having other peaceful fish that won't bother your betta will actually provide a lot of enrichment, stimulation, and activity in the tank. Some people talk about hormones in the water. To me, that's not a huge concern, because if you really think about it, all fish release hormones into the water all the time, and a variety of different hormones. So for example, if you look at my community tank over here, all those fish are going to be releasing hormones, as all variety of hormones. So let's say if I get a fish net and try to catch some of these fish, especially the schooling fish, will, for example, release an alert or panic hormone, which they would do in the wild if a predator was going after them. This kind of lets the other fish know that something scary and really bad is happening. They should probably hide and panic. And it also actually kind of marks the predator, so other fish will stay away. So that in turn, for example, will warn the fish about a net, which is why if you're netting fish at the beginning, your fish might be fine, but the longer you take, the more they will panic because of that increased hormone, for example. In terms of sex hormones and hormones released by fish that are interested in spawning or mating, I've noticed it. I don't really keep males and females together, so I haven't noticed it affecting fish from my personal experience. I've talked to other people. I've talked to Amber from Big City Bettas. She said in her experience, some males and females in a divided tank did just fine. There was no issue with female becoming gravid or egg-bound. And so I think it really depends. It really depends. If you are worried and just for some reason really need to keep a male and female together in a divided tank, even though, I don't know, I wouldn't do it. I would encourage doing it in the largest tank you possibly can, so there is a larger water volume and the water is more diluted. Also, adding carbon into the filtration will help absorb and break down the hormones as well. If you have a male and female jarred next to each other and you don't card them, so you don't separate them, their field of vision, so they can see each other all the time, the female will regardless get super eggy, even though she has no access to the water or any of the hormones the male will release whatsoever. So it really depends on a lot of factors, whether the fish can see each other visually, whether they're in a smaller volume of water, are the fish actively trying to breed all the time. And this applies to a lot of other fish as well. There's a lot of species that we keep males and females together. There's a lot of spawn tanks where you could have community fish and then one type of species will spawn. That will, oh, there's Sunny right there. That will actually affect all your fish regardless. So let's say you are keeping a female betta in a community tank and you have guppies and those guppies are spawning. They're still releasing hormones that will still affect the other fish and will kind of get them kind of excited. And I've seen this with cichlids, especially if you have different species of African cichlids or Lake Malawi cichlids, and if you have one pair that's spawning, you'll see all the other males kind of will become interested and circle and they get excited and they'll color up because it excites them as well, because they are affected. Even though the fish that is spawning is not of the same species, it's a completely different fish, they still react to that. So to say that, you know, males and females cannot be kept in a divided tank because of hormones, or males and males cannot be kept in a divided tank because of hormones, then how would you keep all other fish together in a tank? Because everyone gets affected by hormones. A big concern that a lot of people say is female getting egg-bound, but I really don't think it's as often as we think it is. A lot of the times fish will get constipated or a fish will get gravid, and a lot of people can't tell the difference because not a lot of us know about common betta anatomy. I remember when I was looking up diagrams of betta anatomy, and there's a ton of diagrams for male bettas, but I couldn't find one for female bettas. And I asked some of the members at the IBC, International Betta Congress, and no one could find anything until like I talked to Amber from Big City Bettas, and she's like, there's one in a book that I have, I need to find it. So it's so hard to find information. And once you learn about basic fish anatomy and how a fish is functions and about their body, things will make a lot more sense. And I feel like if that information became more readily available, it would take away the confusion. But I hope I'm making sense. I'm not rambling too much, which is why I hope to talk about wild bettas, about the similarities and differences, because I think from an educational standpoint, it's going to be very important for us to understand the differences and the similarities. And I, in the future, want to do videos about betta anatomy, and I want to look at some more research. So I hope that I can possibly edit this and it's not going to be too ranty. If you are ever confused, feel free to ask me questions in the comments. I will try my best to get back to as many people as I can. I try my best to go through all my comments. And it's really awesome because it helps me realize when people are confused about certain things, or it helps bring to light things that I will forget to mention in certain videos. And it's really, really helpful. And it helps me provide better educational content for everyone else. So I really appreciate the feedback that I got on my previous video, and I hope that this video has helped you and that you enjoyed seeing a little bit of Sunny. I don't know where he went. Oh, he's somewhere. I don't even know where he went, but he's somewhere in there. Enjoy his 20-gallon planted tank. So I hope that you enjoyed hanging out with me, Sunny, and all my other fishy friends, and I'll see you in the next video.